All right. Matt and Scrappy, Lucas De Silva. How are things? It's State Week.
Can we just agree that this is the most exciting week of the high school season and just get it out of the way? This is the most exciting week of the year.
It is. I mean, I still go back to state duels being super excited as well. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out which of the two, but I'm right there with you. This is what, everybody's worked extremely hard for a long time. And there's just a few matches in front of you. Get a few wins. Next thing you know, you're standing on top of the podium. That's pretty cool. You've done it. I've never done it.
Done it a trio of times, and I will say it now. I'm gonna say it probably a couple times throughout this intro and throughout all these videos. There's not feeling like it in high school wrestling. There really isn't. Like getting to stand on top of the podium in the, let's be nice and say, lovely Macon Coliseum. I'll get into my gripes with it eventually throughout these videos, but standing on top of the Macon Coliseum, looking at your parents taking pictures of you, your coaches and everybody. And it's a moment to really appreciate the work you've put in throughout the season and throughout your entire career to get to that point. Each classification, they have about 50, 60, 70 teams depending. So you got to think of it like this. We started with however many kids in your classification, and in your weight class, down to 12. I'm thinking,
right.
Whichever way it makes sense to the viewers. You guys get what I'm saying? We're down to 12. It's only you and 11 other guys, or girls, fighting for that top spot on the podium, fighting for some jewelry. And I was blessed to do it a couple of times. I'm excited to see. I think the biggest thing about state for me is the storylines, is the kids that, he's a senior and he's a two-time blood rounder and he's got one last run to make the podium, or a guy that maybe he's been a finalist the year before and now he's looking to slay old demons. You get the freshmen who are lighting up the world that want to try to go 4 for 4. And then the team race as well in a couple of these classes is going to be absolutely electric.
Yeah.
I'm buzzing. I'm hoping I could get to Macon this week. I don't know. We're going to see. It's conference week for the boys. And while I'm not wrestling, I will still have responsibilities. I hope I get to go to Macon because I'd love to see it in person, but I'm buzzing, man. It's Macon. The road to Macon.
It is the road to Macon. All right. So just so everybody knows, this is an intro that will go at the beginning of every single one of the videos that we're dropping. But after we finish this intro, we will cut it and actually go to a specific talking in detail about one of the classifications as well as the girls and that sort of thing. So just if you're really only interested in 1A, or you're only interested in 7A or this or that, we'll get to those in just a second. Okay. But in terms of, Lucas, you said storylines to begin with, just broadly speaking, regardless of what classification, because they'll all be there, right? If you were to pick one or two things that kind of everybody might want to be paying attention to as they walk in, what are a couple of those things?
I'm going to hone in on the first-time guys that maybe they're freshmen or maybe they're sophomore, junior, that last year they didn't make it to the state meet. I want you to take it in when you step into Macon. It's going to be 6 to 8 mats running, lots of people, lots of noise, and every coach and their mother is going to tell you the same adage of, hey, that mat is the same size as the one in our wrestling room. It's the same size as the mat. Take it in. Enjoy the experience. There's not a lot of opportunities you have. I would give it a lot to go wrestle in Macon again. Not that I like the arena. I don't like the arena.
Right.
But for the atmosphere. So first thing I'd say is to the guys who are going there for the first time, take it in. And on the same token, to the guys there for the last time, take it in. Really understand what you won't have again and be appreciative of that. And to the fans, I'm going to say, appreciate the wrestling going on. I can understand as a coach or as a parent, you may be so honed in on your son or daughter, as you should be. But man, with some of these matches going on in some of these brackets, take some time to watch some good wrestling if you can. Like, take some time. If you're just sitting there waiting on your son to wrestle, don't just be on your phone scrolling through Facebook or Imager or Twitter or Tumblr. Just watch some of the wrestling, enjoy it. It's once in a lifetime to go to make and to do it multiple occasions that I had the blessing to do. It was incredible. So that would be
Yeah.
my keys.
All right.
Enjoy it, love it.
So I would say, if you're not familiar, as far as another classification goes, the road to a state title for the teams in 7A is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get to that when we get to 7A.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that if you want to be paying attention to what's going on in a team race, and all the team races are going to be great, but that team race is going to be special. And then the second thing that I wanted to say was kind of piggybacking off of what you said, in that you talked about the freshmen, the first timers and the last timers. The other part is that we always have somebody who comes in as a 6 out of a sectional who is not necessarily on anybody's radar, and they may not win it, but they make a run and they end up on the podium. And it's a very special feeling because they started out in a deep hole to get to that point. So
I got an even better story for you. My senior year at heavyweight, kid at a Cherokee, I think it was an alternate, gets in on a guy getting injured, and he makes a run to the state finals. And he eventually lost to
Fairchild?
Who?
Fairchild?
Yes, thank you. I was thinking Fairchild. Yeah, he loses to Fairchild, but he took 9th, and because this is when it was top 8 that went, ladies and gentlemen. This was 16-man brackets.
Right.
He took 9th at sectionals, 9th, and made a run to the state final. Like,
yeah. So the storylines are huge. I mean, that's what we're going to kind of talk about when we get into the brackets. But it's going to be fun. Yeah,
you're going to have some Cinderellas where the glass slipper is going to fit for some of them, and they're going to have a story when they're older of, hey, I was the 5 seed at the state tournament. I knocked off a 4, or I knocked off a 6 seed, then I knocked off a 1. I made the way back to the finals, and I was wrestling the guy who beat me at sectionals, and I got the comeback, and I win the state title. There are going to be stories that come from this weekend of that, and to those kids, it's going to be something they remember for the rest of their lives.
All right, so you ready to jump into one of these?
Yes, I am. Which one's it going to just like I did with the rank, which one's it going to be? I don't know. They could be watching 5 for all we know.
Right. So let's jump in.
Storytelling. It's wonderful storytelling.
All right. We are here for 6A, the creme de la creme of chaos in Georgia.
I have no clue what's going on in this classification. I have no clue. This is a train wreck. I love 6A to death. Oh my God.
This actually makes it a lot of fun, right? Because there are so many possibilities about, number one, there's so many possibilities in each individual bracket. I mean, there's a lot of different kids who could win in each individual bracket. Well, maybe not every bracket, but a lot of the brackets. And that in turn means that there's a lot of possibilities on the team side. How many teams do you have that could end up winning the title?
7.
7 different teams. And you know what? That's crazy compared to, I mean, we just, if you're talking 5A, in reality, it's 2. There's a handful that could, but really it's 2.
You predict 6A's top 5? I want the lottery numbers.
No doubt, man.
This is what I don't think people understand about 6A. It has become this smorgasbord of like 5A teams and 7As that I don't know how many of the teams that are in 6A that I have in the top 8 started in 6A. Like, I think most of them have been new move-ins, either up or down. Teams like Norfolk Side, Woodward Academy, they moved a couple years back, yes, but still. Jackson County, Lee County, like there's so many teams that have moved.
Well, and teams that have moved out.
My hair out.
I mean, like Buford moved to 7A. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the Camden Buford thing going on in 7A. And they probably would be, I mean, definitely the favorites here in 6A, but now they're gone. And we get this interesting group of teams and individuals It's gonna be a lot of fun, man.
Yes, it is. And no, it's gonna be. Don't get that twisted. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But trying to predict this, I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh god. Yeah.
All right. So for those of you who have watched some others, you know that we have randomly selected where we're going to start with our discussion of each of the individual brackets. This time, we're actually starting at 106. So right down at the bottom with the small guys. And you know what? Let's kick it off with a little bit of chaos, right? We've got Carol Alalde.
You don't say.
Who is the who's a section champ, Jose Pacheco, who's a section champ, who beat Santiago, who was a runner-up at this weight last year, putting him at the top side of the bracket. You got a real good Cole Warren in there from Creekview. How is 106 going to play out in 6A?
That's a very good question, Jason.
I know.
And let's
I ask really good questions.
Let's also keep in mind, of course, Bryce Share. I don't know if that's how I say his name. He's been in my rankings a good bit of the year.
He has
has a couple good wins, including a win over Patrick Smythe. You got Hayden Fritz in there for Woodward Academy. Like, ladies and gentlemen,
Isaac Hoshide from Lassiter.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to really talk about the team race as much throughout the bracket. I'm going to save it all for the end because legitimately in every bracket I could say it. Okay, for Lee County, all the data is huge. For Jax, Pachero's huge. For Creekview, Warren's huge. For Effingham, because they really got a chance to actually make. Like, there's so much I could say because of how wide open 6A is. I'm going to kind of hone in more individually. Give me Pacheco to win it. But he's going to have to deal with Warren in the sems. But then again, if you're auto-laid, you have to deal with Santiago or Bryce Share, possibly. So you don't have any.
Pacheco's got to deal with the winner of B and Fritz. And Fritz was a state placer last year at the weight.
Yeah, so, either way, it's a murderer's row any way you slice it.
I just think the thing is that everybody's super close to one another. So it's going to be some really close matches who, advances, because if you come in cold and you're not ready to go, this is a weight class where, because somebody's not significantly better than somebody else, you could put yourself in a bad position to start.
And hey, I'll let it be known here. If there's going to be a 4 seed to win a state title, it's probably going to come in 106.
Okay. I get that. All right, let's jump to 113, where our state for our section champs are Riley McGilligot of Lassiter, Tyler Ramos of Lanier. But man, you got McGilligot, you've got Tab, who McGilligot barely beat, right? In the sections. You've got Ramos, they're all took 6th last year. Clayton Hicks took 4th last year.
I was going to say, Clayton Hicks is in the mix here.
Right. Heath Augustine, I think, took 6th last year. We've got a ton of state placers. And again, really, really, I mean, you could say, wow, McGillicott, he pinned Augustine in the section finals, but he had to fight for a match against Tab in the semis. So there's not anyone who's significantly better than anyone else in this bracket.
No, there isn't. And it leaves me in a really odd position. Because it I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I think McGilliot's going to get it done. I do. I'm taking Riley to win it. But, Heath Augustine could get his way back to the final and so many things, bro. Clayton Hicks is not to be overlooked. Another guy that's not to be overlooked is Dominic Thompson, 47-14 at Jax County. He's by no means meant to be overlooked.
And Ramos beat Hicks. I mean, I think 8-5 or something. So
yeah. I was about to say Ramos can go and make something happen. There's 5 guys we just named that all can make the finals.
And you made your pick, right?
Yes, it's going to be McGilliot. That's my pick.
All right. So let's jump to 120. Section champs, Damian Johnson, veterans, Connor Nevin from Effingham County. Probably entering my favorite would have been Carter Brickley, but he did take a loss to Johnson 8-7, I think it was, in the section finals. Hunter Kegley's in there. You see a little freshman in there, Josiah Boyden. He's kind of lurking. Alexander Reed up top is a returning state placer, I believe. Reese Myers took somebody, one of those, the top guys, right? Oh, Hunter Kegley or Connor Nevin, right to the very end as well. Another weight class, man. Another weight class where who knows? Is it straight darts and popcorn?
This weight's just darts. This weight is complete darts. Because you also got to look at a guy like you mentioned, Josiah Boyden, and lurking is the perfect word because he's got the ability to put anybody on their head at any given moment. Nevin.
All right.
That's my pick. But
it was throwing darts.
Him and Brickley in the sems, I think, will be a lot of fun. Kegley and Boyden in the freaking quarters. Reed and Johnson in the quarters. Ooh. Like,
all right.
Just
so let's settle things down as we move to 126, and not to take anything away from Jefferson Coutinho of Glen Academy, who's a section champ, Landon Robinson, Jacob Stellhorn from South Effingham, who's I think a returning
John Termini. I know that he's a little bit lower down the way, but John Termini.
But the favorite here is Tanner Spalding, moving from, I believe, Ohio, who is unbeaten on the season and has just looked like the man.
Circle W, moving on. I think that this is one where, like we said, not to disrespect anybody, I just think he's that next level, Tanner Spalding.
Yeah. All right. 132. Ha! One of my favorites. In fact, might be my favorite weight class in 6A, although that's a big stretch.
But then you get us into it. Go on, son.
Well, I'm just saying, you got Riley Brewer, Josh Sanders. I mean, I think it was a 1-point match for that section title. Bringer won the other section over Cooper, but man, he had to battle against Castillo of Jackson County, who's a returning state placer. I don't know. I just don't know who wins this one.
I'll tell you who I'm picking.
All right.
I'm picking Josh Sanders. He was my pick going into sectionals, and a 1-point loss to Brewer doesn't knock me off of that by any means. Now, he's made his life more difficult because now he has to deal with Bringer and Brewer or Cooper. But I'm going to pick Josh Sanders as Sprayberry. And this is one, Tyree edits, you put me on. You didn't put me on with North Paulding, Tyree, like you try to say. Because I have videos with this man right here about North Paulding a year before I met you, because you were never on my radar. Josh Sanders, you did put me on. I'll give you that, Tyree. Tip of the cap. I know who Josh Sanders really was until the end of last year where he started telling me about him.
All right. 138. It just feels like a lot of chaos. And the reason it feels like a lot of chaos to me is Rhodes from Roswell won sections. Cade Morgan from Glit Academy, he won the other section, who beat Derek Council, who I mean, in overtime. So, I mean, that's a really, really solid win. But the thing that kind of throws this entire thing into chaos is Jarrett Garrett lost to Gunter 13-11 in the semis and then forfeited for some reason all the way to 6th. And that's a tough 6.
You don't say. You don't say.
And that's that's not good for Maddox 6. And I'm not saying he can't beat Garrett. I'm just saying that, that's not your typical number 6 that the number 3 has to deal with right off the bat. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. And the thing is, I really like Thomas Rhodes. I think he can wrestle. Like, he's good. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, well then, Cade Morgan as well. You know what? Switching a pick. Give me Cade Morgan.
Cade Morgan. All right.
I
I
think he'll
got you.
repeat. I think he'll repeat.
Repeat. Did he win
Repeat.
last time?
No, repeat success. Like
Oh, got it.
kind of not who I expected. Wrestled real good last week. Like you said, knocked off Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
And
Knocked
then
off
knocked off
Council.
Council.
Yeah. Yeah, no
Yep.
doubt. All right, so let's jump to 144. I think in one of the other ones I said 145 because
Yes.
that's just the way I am.
And that's the way it should be.
Don't be stuck. You know, it's okay to change weight classes every now and again.
Wait, you're stupid now. Like you're stupid now. Like makes no sense. Why is there nothing in 80? Why? We just go from 75 to 90. Why?
Well, would 189, which used to be the weight class 100 years ago, be better?
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
you're one of those people who looks at it and says it's $4.99. Hey, that's better than $5.
Hey, it's 1 cent better. Yeah, fungal. All right, moving on.
All right, your section champs are Trevin Cantor. Is that Blessed Trinity?
Yes.
Yeah, Dmitry Vostrogov from North Forsyth is your other section champ.
AKA Ivan Drago.
I'll tell you what, man, but these are the middle of this bracket is good. Mario Bolivar, Gainesville, Samuel Gadsden, Damian Jones, you got Kamari Cohn in there, you got David Jewell, who's a freshman, sitting up there. What do you think of this group?
So here's the thing. I really like Gadsden. I really like Ivan Drago. And as well, Cantor can wrestle his tail off. I got a little insider trading from a couple people telling me Super Mario is going to get the job done this weekend. And you know what? He wrestled good against Drago. By the way, the reason why I'm calling him Ivan Drago, ladies and gentlemen, is because I'm not going to butcher that name. And I know he's Russian because I talked to the people in North Forsyth. Eventually, I'm going to see him. Hopefully, I'm telling him, hey, could you please tell me how to say your name? So I don't, but I'm calling him Ivan Drago for the time being. You guys know who I'm talking about.
You could say Dmitry. Dmitry is his first name. That's pretty easy.
Yeah, okay, Dmitry Drago. I don't care. Give me Super Mario Boulevard of Gainesville. I'll take him.
Okay. All right. Wow. You're kind of going off the rails, picking a couple of number twos in this situation.
I don't know what you want me to do. 6A doesn't have rails. 6A is flying trains at this point. There's no trails. It's in the air. What do you want from me?
It is. All right. So let's jump to 150 and man, it just seems like a collision course between Karpinski and Seymour. Don't get me wrong, or as you would say, don't get it twisted. There are some really good wrestlers in between those two on the ends of the bracket, but man, those two have wrestled super, super well, and neither of them have won a title, I believe, yet.
Nope.
So
Karpinski, for what it's worth, has a GSA championship for what it's worth.
So how do you believe it's those two in the finals? And is there somebody else we should keep an eye on just in case?
I would say for team score implications, keep your eye on Henderson and Real, specifically out of Henderson Northside Real of Woodward Academy. Whitaker,
Weston Wilkie, Creekview will be in it.
Oh yeah, I didn't. Yes.
Well, and honestly, Sessions from South Effingham and Connell and from Laster right there in the freaking first round.
Everybody, stop. The reason why I mentioned Real and Henderson is because they both have wins over guys in the bracket to an extent where I think, okay, they have a road back to placements. Sessions is he's going to have to get through Connell in round 1. Then he's going to have Seymour and possibly make a drop. And if he drops there, he's got a real good shot of catching like a Reyes on that backside. And you still got to get through a round or two. There's a lot that could happen there. But specifically for where I think these teams are going to end up, keep your eye on Henderson, Real, and Sessions. But I do believe it's Karpinski and Seymour to the final. And give me Aiden Karpinski, full-blown, a good friend of mine. I think I give him the edge over Ryan Seymour slightly. I do. I give him the edge.
All right. So 157. I mean, I just feel like we're repeating ourselves. I'm going to say Reardon and Santana are both the section champs. And honestly, both have wrestled fantastic and they have history in Macon and everything else. But again, you look at, the weight class, and the ones in the middle all can bring it. So, it's not like Reardon and Santana are significantly better.
No. Like, hey, Blake Etheridge just sitting there 49-2 on the air from Brunswick, and he is 3. He's a 3, and he's sitting there looking me dead in the face.
Well, and I will say Gramatsky, right, and I probably slaughtered the name. I think he forfeited to Santana in the section final. So, why, I don't know, but that puts him on this side. Somebody keep in mind.
I was going to say, for whatever reason.
Right. All right. So who are you taking?
Sorry, I don't need Obamacare. I have health care. Sorry. I got a random text message from a spam number. Give me Reardon. I feel like I'm butchering that. Give me Reardon. I think him and Santana will meet in the finals, kind of on a collision course. I think it'll be a good match. I think it'll be probably a 2-point match at most, but give me the Blessed Trinity native.
All right. Jump into 165. Aiden Chilson beat DeHaven last weekend in their section finals. Michael Hall beat Ashton Tootle. But again, lots of names here, but man, Chilson's win over DeHaven was pretty impressive.
Yeah, and that to me means a lot because I had DeHaven as my favorite walking into sectionals.
So is Chilson now your pick, or?
Yes. Yeah. No, he beat him. Yeah. So I thought DeHaven was going to win this one. That was where I was sitting at going in sectionals. Chilson looked real good. He's 50-1 on the year. Senior. I think he's going to go out on top. I wouldn't be surprised if it's over DeHaven. Then again, Michael Hall at Alexander can wrestle his tail off, so don't be surprised if he gets to the final. As well, a guy to look for, Cody Scroggins at North Forsyth. He's big for them. For South Effingham, Tootle. If Tootle makes the finals, that puts South Effingham in a real good position. So just kind of keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen.
So we don't hand out. Hang on, did you make a pick? Yeah, you picked. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You went on after the pick. That's right. We don't hand out medals beforehand or championships beforehand, but probably the single, maybe the best wrestler in the state of Georgia resides in 6A 175. Latrell Schaefer. Look, Hutchinson, and there's a lot of other wrestlers in that group. None, and this is no offense to anybody else, is anywhere close to as good as Latrell is.
No, I agree. And my pick is Latrell.
Okay. All right. And that's, I don't want to say, oh, well, we watched the whole thing and you didn't talk about the bracket. Look, I think we know who's first. Now, when we get when we get to implications for the team race, there are implications for the team race that is also in 175. I was
going to say, Verandamine for Norfolk Site is super important. He needs to get to the finals. It doesn't matter if Latrell pins him in -5 seconds. It doesn't matter. He needs to get to the finals. Those points are going to be big. And on
he's
top
get to
of
the semifinals. Not on the same side.
No, they're not.
They're not?
Verandamine won the section.
Not according to the bracket I have.
Hutchinson I'm looking at track. Section.
Well, see, I remember I pulled down mine a couple of days ago. If is Hutchinson in the bracket?
Yeah, and he's the 2 spot.
No, he's the 1 for the other section.
No, he's not.
Section champs are on opposite sides.
Yes, Jason, I'm looking at it on trackwrestling.com, and Verandamine is on the 1 spot.
Okay. Did you go to track wrestling?
Jason,
did you go to the brackets?
Yes, I'm looking at brackets on track wrestling. Here, I'm going to text you. I just sent you a text message. Look at it. While he proves my correctness, I'm gonna move on. Hutchinson's big for Brunswick. If you
Okay. So I see your point of it on the bracket, but I'm telling you that put into the bracket, you wouldn't have two section champs on the same side of the bracket.
I don't think you do, is what I'm telling you. Obviously, there's a reason for Randomy's on that spot.
Okay. He's on the same side of the bracket as Schaefer.
No, he's not.
He's not.
I'm gonna punch you in the head. Look at the text message I just sent you. Look at the text.
The text message you just sent me gave me last week's thing. Last week's section, right?
No, I know it's the picture of trackwrestling.com right now where I'm looking at Verandamy on the section champ spot. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't see Jason Fulmore make it, it's because I beat him to death because he's annoying me right now. I'm looking at it. My eyes are on the bracket and he's telling me, no, bro. No, I'm looking at it.
Okay. So this is what I'm going to show you this. All right. So I want to show everybody.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad you brought this up. Hang on. So you see this? Okay, you see that? So it now shows Hutchinson on this line.
Oh, it's as if that's what I just said.
Okay, no, I know. But when I pulled down the bracket a couple of like 2 days or maybe even 12 hours ago, this was it.
Oh, okay. I see where you're wrong. I see where you're wrong. I got you.
Well, not where I'm wrong. It was the wrong bracket when it was first presented. Because actually, if you look at this is a list of everyone, and that's Hutchinson. It has a 1 right there.
That's great.
So they had it wrong originally and had to go back and fix it. Regardless.
So as I was saying, Verandamy's super important for Norfolk Site to get back to the finals. He needs to be there for them. Hutchinson, you need, if you're going to lose to Luttrell, that's fine. You need to go get third. And you need, if you can get bonus in your quarter, because remember, you're coming off a bye, so it's going to double your points. You need to go get that one. So there's a lot that, and that's my thing about buys, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather wrestle a match and pin the guy and then wrestle some. Honestly, if I was wrestling today, I'd look at afterwards, I'd say, hey, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pin one guy in sections. I'm going to get to the sems, and then we're going to forfeit out.
Oh, okay.
I'm so serious. Put me as the 6th spot, right? Because you drop to the 6. That means I get 2 matches. I could double my points. Instead of having a bye and then a tougher match where if the kid hangs on with me, it's now 2 majors.
So what he's alluding to, for the people who don't know as closely, right? So
is that people are stupid.
You can get your advancement points. You can get your advancement points from a bye. The problem is you can't get a bonus point from a bye. So if you wanted to earn more points in that first round, you would have to wrestle that first round. So by winning your bracket or taking second in your bracket, you're actually at a disadvantage compared to the others in terms of how many points you get.
If you win your sectional, you should earn the more point opportunity. Like you.
I agree. I'm just trying to explain it to anybody who might be watching.
No. I know you're explaining it to them. I'm just explaining why I hate this state. 12-man bracket. It's not COVID anymore. Go back to 16. The way God intended.
God intended. All right. So we went way off the rails. I apologize to everyone. I do want to say this. That is a perfect example of why it's important to go back and check the brackets, because obviously somebody got inputted as the incorrect winner, and it could have stayed that way. And I would venture to guess that Coach Gerard looked at it and said, oh, no. We're on the bottom side of the bracket.
No.
We're on the bottom side of the bracket. We're not on the same side of the bracket
Luttrell in the semis.
Luttrell.
Get us away from Luttrell in the semifinals.
All right, jump into 190. Brock Hacker is a section champ. Colin Kelly from North Forsyth is a section champ. Some good guys again in the middle. but this one's pretty wide open as well. Hacker probably is the favorite, but yeah, how do you see 190?
I agree that Hacker is your favorite, and my opinion going to win it. But I'm actually changing my team score prediction.
Oh, okay.
So I just noticed something that actually kind of changes the way I'm thinking about 190 pounds. Yeah, I just think Hawker
Hawker?
English.
He's from Wisconsin.
Jeez. Hacker Lucas English Hacker. I think Hacker is your favorite. I think he's the best guy. I think he's the top guy in the bracket. He's earned it all season long. He's wrestled great. Yeah.
All right. Let's move to 215. We've
Now,
got.
I'm gonna say it again just for the sake of the team score implications. Christmas Kelly, Halachi,
Right.
Ethan Logan.
We're really close to talking about the team score, so just hold on to
we'll
that.
get there.
All right.
We'll get there when we get there.
Weston Bryan from Lee County is a section champ. Anthony Lowe from Brunswick is a section champ. Has looked fantastic all season long. Again, Sky Niblett, that's got to be one of your top names, right? In the
Sky Niblett's top 5 dead or alive. Like, that's a beautiful name, Sky Niblett. That's a beautiful name.
But I just don't see anyone at the same level as Anthony Lowe. But that's just me.
No, I agree. No, I think Lowe is your favorite, deservedly so. Again, Brian Miller, Ketchum, you're all super important. Like, you are all very important.
Agreed.
Go do what you got to do. Like,
all right, and then your heavyweights.
A cluster, and then heavyweight's a cluster. I forgot. Oh yeah,
it's so much fun. 285 is so much fun.
So much fun.
Well, I mean, you've got a returning state runner-up and Tate from Woodward Academy who took third last weekend.
Yeah.
Right? I think he lost to Hubert in a really close match, and that's your potential quarters. So everybody's sitting in the stands, right? 61-11. Definitely you want to watch that rematch, assuming Tate beats Willock. But our 2 section champs are Good Game and Moss. And I'll tell you what, Marquise Moss has looked fantastic.
Yes, he has. And by the way, if you don't watch 61-11, you don't love wrestling. But yeah, no, Marquise Moss has looked incredible this year.
Yeah, no doubt. So,
and as a matter of fact, he has looked very good this year. He has looked so good this year. I'm picking him to win the bracket. I had Hubert.
Yeah, and that's a good pick, though. I mean, Hubert is tough.
That's the thing. Is it's like,
but he's got to be
Hubert,
Tate.
Yeah, I was about to say Hubert. You got to be Tate, and then then again, it's a GHSA, so you might have a 4-day break in between your quarters and sems because, well, whatever, right? And you might have to wrestle the semifinal on the Tournament of Power location for Dragon Ball Z. You know what? I'm picking Moss. But don't again. So then you look at the other side. You have Anderson and Creel who could see each other in the quarters, and that right there is gigantic. Who gets through that quarterfinal match?
Agreed. All right. So actually, I'm glad you brought that up because that will be a team implication type of match. How do you see the team race playing out? Now, before I give you that information, South Effingham has 12. Woodward Academy has 10 qualifiers. Jackson County has 9. North Forsyth has 8. Lee County has 7. Glenn has 7. Creekview has 7. Tiff has 7. But let's be honest, right? 7 and Lee County has 4 champs, which is huge, but 5 fewer wrestlers than South Effingham. That's tough. That's a tough thing to overcome.
I'm going to be honest.
It's good because you're never honest. So let's try this out.
I'm throwing nearly full darts on this one. In 5th place, I got a 3-way tie of Lee, Creekview, and Brunswick. I don't care. Fourth place, Jackson County. So this is what I changed. Third place, South Effingham. Man, okay, here's where I'm stuck. I got Woodward and North Forsyth 1 and 2, and I'm debating the order because North Forsyth has a lot of really good draws. I have them with like 3 or 4 finalists. I have Woodward with 3 You know what? Circle W, runners up. Give me North. I can't do their logo as good and it's backwards. And give me North Forsyth to win the damn thing. Give me Woodward in second, South Effingham in third, Jackson County in fourth, and then the smorgasbord of Lee, Creek, New Brunswick fifth. Dart. I don't know. Like this one is where I don't know. Like I don't know.
So objectively, right? I do think that you. So if we were to analyze your picks, just from my perspective, right? North Forsyth, Woodward Academy, and South Effingham all have the 3 most qualifiers. So they have the most possible points out of everyone entering the tournament. But the moment someone loses and goes 0-2, it's like you didn't bring somebody.
Exactly, that's the thing.
You earned 0 points. So each of those teams needs to get their 4, 5, and 6. If they don't win their first match, they win their backside match. Because if they don't, that could be the difference in who wins and who loses.
I agree 1,000%. I like that. That's the exact way I'm thinking about it. And that's the thing is, when you look at North Forsyth and Woodward and South Effingham, those to me, they have the most guys that could get to the quarters of either side, which means they will have at least won 1 match. It's at that point where it starts getting real dicey.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, man. I appreciate 6A. Be sure you check out all of the other classifications. I think they're a little shorter than this one. We spent a lot of time talking about because really, honestly, there was a lot to talk about in 6A. It was hard to kind of break down and talk, get to the picking a champ. I think this was the most time that I've seen Lucas kind of hesitate as far as picking champs go and that. So check those out and check back and make sure you see some of the other ones. I appreciate it, Lucas.
Yes, sir.